Hello Internet! In this video we are going to be working on adding a shell to Unity. So I've already kind of gotten started, nothing major, but I have this basic window. It's just a console window that, or at least I'm calling it a console window, and all it does is have selected if you've selected it and not selected if you haven't. And so what we're going to do is kind of recreate a shell. So if you've ever used like the command prompt or bash or anything like that, we're going to recreate that, but we're going to do it all in Unity. And hopefully we're going to make this so you can actually expose objects. So you can expose scripts or commands or whatever inside of your project that can actually do things. So theoretically, you'll actually be able to control your scene from here. So if you need to do like basic things, like just figure out where an object is or move an object or something, you can do that with a command instead of actually finding the object and doing that. And so I don't know how far we'll take this. It's kind of going to depend on interest, but I'm just kind of curious to see if we can write a shell in this. I've seen some like REPLs and stuff for doing, which is just read, execute, print, loop. And that literally does what it says. So it will read a line, it will execute it, it will print out the results, and then it will just do that over and over again. And you can use that for most programming languages actually. But we're gonna hopefully have some pretty, like I kind of want to be able to like track positions over time and do things like that. I don't know how that's all gonna work, but I figure we'll experiment. So this is where we're at right now. The code looks like this. Nothing advanced at all. We create the window, and then it's just got this on GUI that actually draws this. So I don't want to use text boxes for this. I think I'm gonna regret that, but the reason I don't want to use text boxes is because they end up looking like this. GUI layout dot text area or something. Text test, sure. So if I do that, this will compile, and then we get like this, which I guess that doesn't look that bad, but it doesn't, I don't know, I don't think it looks good or particularly good. And so just filling something with that, I don't think that's something I want to do. And also it avoids, I want to be able to like throw images. So like if you want a texture, if you're like, show me this texture, I want to be able to actually show that texture in this thing. So if you're familiar with Mono, which is a C# cross-platform port before .NET Core and all of that came along, they've had a REPL for a long time, and you could actually like graph a function inside of it, and it would actually print out a graph in here. I kind of want to get to that level, which that's going to take a while, and I don't know how far we'll get there, but that's sort of where I'm headed with this, and we can't do that if we use these text boxes because then we have a text box, or I could, but then I just have a text box at the bottom and that looks awful. So we're not going to do that. So that's out. Instead, I think input.get key. I think we can get the key out of here. So I think there's a way to actually get whatever. For now, I'm probably just going to create a map. I'll probably do that off camera. But ideally, what we're going to have is just a get key. And so I'm going to map this A to some string. So that, that key code maps to A, for example. And so effectively, we're going to make something so you can actually type. So let me actually spin up just a really basic, how hard is that going to get? I feel like I may have just overestimated or underestimated everything, because that's going to be hard because there's localization and everything that I would have to consider. And things like capitals. Do I want to do that? I still think I kind of want to do that just because I think it'll be interesting. Sure, why not? We're going to try it. So be right back. I'm going to create a dictionary of key codes to something, to values, to strings, sorry. So this will be our character map. I think there's going to be a better way to do that, but I'm just going to spin this up for now, and I'll figure out a better way to do it after this video. It's not strictly relevant, but it will do similar things. So I'm going to create this map just for the basic 26 characters, and then I'll be right back. I haven't really actually done anything. I've actually deleted everything. Turns out there is an input string. And what this does is it returns the input so far this frame, which will be everything that you've pressed. So this will handle capitalization and everything. So all we actually need is a string builder, which will be our string builder of our current line. And we'll just new string builder, sure. So we're going to use a string builder here because concatenating strings just eats up your garbage collection, and that's no fun for anybody. So we're going to do current line plus equals the input dot string. We have to append it, I think. Doesn't appear to support that. So this will just append our current line, and so I should be able to, underneath this label field, I'm going to just add another one to print off our input. Let's do just like a standard caret, I guess. And this will just be our plus current line dot toString. So that will just grab the string from our string builder and print it out. And so now this will compile. I'll get that. That input string may not be functioning for outside play mode. That may be a problem. So this is part of the issue. It's not really designed for any of this. Yeah. So yeah, that's what's happening. It's pulling it in, but only when we're in our game. I don't know how to fix that, but I have some ideas. First one is execute in edit mode. I don't think that's actually going to solve it, but it's worth a shot. Yeah, no. See, you can see up here, it's actually switching between these because these are I'm just hitting QWER. Those are the hotkeys for these. So this doesn't work. We need something else. What do we need? What am I doing? Trying to go for help. We don't need help. So that only works when the game is selected. That's kind of annoying. Yeah, let me see how we can actually use this outside of our game itself. Because I want this in the editor. It's not useful if it's not in the editor. So we're going to try to get that and see what happens. Okay, I went down a little bit of a weird path. We're not using that input string, so that only works in the game. All of the input class actually only works in the game. So instead what I've found is there is something called the event class. And so this has an event of something that happened. So in this case, we're getting the character from the event. So when you press a key, an event will fire, which we'll call onGUI. So every frame, multiple times a frame, this onGUI could be called. And so each time that happens, we'll have a different event, theoretically. That may or may not be the case. But anyway, when that happens, we get a new event. That ends up here. And we append whatever character that was to our current line. This isn't correct, and I'll show you why in a bit. But after that happens, we need to tell our window to repaint. I'll show you what happens if I remove this. This was just something I was annoying me before. So that should clear our string builder. So I can start typing here, and you'll notice nothing happens, and then suddenly all of this text appears. That's why we need the repaint, because Unity doesn't always redraw this GUI. It only redoes it some of the time. And so we need to actually tell it to redraw. So that's what repaint is doing. It's saying, hey, go and redraw this window. And so that will get us to actually redraw and show our current line here. And that should be it. That should be everything that we need. So I can type here, but there's another problem. I don't know how to solve this, but we get two characters for every event. And I don't know why. I've never used this event class before, so I know there's a current, and that's all I know. So we need to figure out use? Sure, we'll use the event. I should figure out what that does. I just used the wrong hotkey. Okay. That is a very useful description of what that does. All right. So let's see if that clears things up. I may need to go on another search. Oh, everything's gone now. We may need to. Nope. Everything's gone. What? What? Where? Okay. Sure. Why? Why aren't we getting anything anymore? That was super weird. And then it comes right back. What? Apparently you're not supposed to do whatever this is. Current, I'll have to look up what that does if I don't find what we're looking for shortly. But I just want to, I don't know, just check. Because that seemed like what I wanted to do. Because normally you have to consume something and say, I've used this. If you don't, then somebody else is going to find it. But that didn't really do what I thought. So the other alternative is to save like a copy of this, of the last event, and kind of make sure they're not the same. But that's really hacky and I don't want to do that. So hopefully we don't have to. I'm going to go look up what that use does, and then I will report back with what I find. So it looks like I've solved two problems. There are multiple different types of events. Event.current type. So here are all of the types. And yeah, so there's a key down and a key up. So we want to respond only to key downs. So when the key is down, we're going to do this. Otherwise, we're going to ignore whatever it is, because otherwise we don't need it. I don't actually think this is required, this null check. I'm going to keep it there though, just because it is somewhat safe. Yeah, cool. So you'll notice I'm hitting back right now, backspace. It doesn't do anything. That's the next thing we need to get working. And so I think we're going to want a switch, which may not be the best way to handle this, but we're going to do it anyway. Back. Okay, one sec. Key code. There we go. So we're going to switch on the key code here, which I know we said we weren't going to do that, but turns out there's actually a good reason. I'm going to stick default. So our default case is going to append the character. So if we don't have any other thing bound to this, we're going to append to it. But this way we can also inject other actions here without needing to do anything else. So we can handle special cases like the backspace. So we can have a case of keycode.backspace. So when you press back, we are going to want to take the current line and remove, shoot. Is there a pop? No? Okay, we're going to remove the last value. So that should be current line dot length minus, I think -2, because, ooh, I may screw this up, but we're going to do length -1 and length -2. And I think that'll remove the last one. We'll verify that in just a sec. But we need our break there so it doesn't fall through. And then that should pop off the last line. It may do more than one. So if I do astif and then hit back, our argument is out of range. Well, that's unfortunate. I wonder why that would be. Unless length is not what I think it is. Capacity, length, max capacity. So I'm pretty sure length is the length. It's not documented here. I don't know why I keep trying to find these things. There's no documentation apparently in the code. That's very annoying. But anyway, I assume capacity is the total like size. So underneath this, there's some sort of growing data structure. And so I assume that is referenced there. But then we need something else to subtract off. So we just need to find that magic value that works. Argument is out of range. Let's try this a different way. When we hit back, let's remove the first character. So obviously this is totally wrong. But if I do astif, this should remove the A. And it does. Ish. It's a little bit finicky. Like, I can hit that a lot, but it doesn't actually... It doesn't respond as well as I would expect. I don't know how to fix that. We're not getting any more of those errors. Like if I clear this, they do go away. So we know that's a thing. But I don't know why event type dot. I don't think there's anything special for this. I have no idea. And also, why is there upper and lowercase versions of all of these? Why does this exist? Key down is 4. What about the other one? This one better be the same. Okay, good. I would have been... that would have been weird. Maybe that's something to make it easier on the JavaScript people. I don't know. But anyway, we need to figure out why this isn't working. And there's a number of things that aren't working. First off, this length doesn't work. Why not? So remove from an index to an... Oh, it's a length. Derp. So that 1 is what we want. That's why we were getting it out of bounds and thing. Got it. So every second backspace seems to be ignored, which that's going to be kind of annoying. But I don't know how to fix that. I'll have to look at it. Anyway, we have this. We can now add things and remove things and do all of that. We can type, and then we can theoretically execute. So the last thing I'm going to do is just add something so that we can actually like sudo execute these, which isn't actually going to do anything. The execution here isn't going to do anything. This is just sort of getting us a text editor effectively. So I'm going to create a really basic... do I want a list or a linked list? Let's do a list of strings. And this will be our previous commands. And so what I want to do Do I want to do it this way? Sure, we'll do it this way, and then I can play with it later. So previous commands is going to equal new list of strings, like so. And then we want for each of our previous in our previous commands, we want to actually draw a label for that. And that will just be another one of these, and then the previous, that's not how we want to do that, plus our previous. So this is just going to when we push something onto the end of this list, which is where we're going to push it, it will end up right above our chat thing. And so theoretically, that should all be good. So just to make sure this is all nice and doesn't go crazy, I'm not going to cap this. There's not going to be a buffer limit. We're going to have to add that later. But that's relatively, I think, simple. So I'm going to create a scroll view. So this is going to expect a scroll position, which I can give it as our scroll position. Sure, why not? We can call it what it's called. I guess that works. And this is just so after we add a specific number of commands that it starts going off the screen. I don't want to just have all of the things you're typing be kicked off the screen, because that's what will be kicked off first. It will start at the top and just print things off the screen. So we want to end this now. We won't have our that's not what I want. Begin scroll view kicks out a scroll position. There we go. So this we're going to need to save, and we can just persist it here as our scroll position, and that can be equal to vector2.0 for now. And I suppose we can let it scroll in either direction. I'm not sure I like that idea, but we're going to let it go for now. And so that all we need to do now is add one final key code here for not that. Return. There we go. Took me a while. Had to figure out the name. And so what we need is we need to add this onto the previous commands dot add. This will put it at the end. So we're just going to stick our current line to string and throw that onto the end of our list. And then our current line is going to equal a new string builder. I think we could probably, actually, can we reset that? Maybe. Dot clear, no. Yeah, let's just create a new one. And so that will reset our current line, and it will push it onto the other one. So theoretically now, once this goes away, there we go. So I now have a scrollable thing. I'll actually move this up so we can actually get to a new line. Getting control one's position in group with only one controls when doing key down, aborting. So we do get a scroll view, and we also get a bunch of other things. Getting control 14's position. I'm not sure what that means. Getting control 14's position in a group with only 14 controls when doing key down, aborting. I don't actually know what that means. All I do know is it has completely ruined my ability to type. So whenever we get that error, whatever it was, everything breaks. So what if I go here, let's attach to Unity. I think this will automatically break on exceptions. So if I go and trigger that again, never mind. Let's see here. I believe it's happening here, but that could be wrong. If it's happening above, then we've got some problems. But anyway, let's try this. So we haven't had our error yet. And then if I skip over, still no error, and then end, still no error. And then we get here again. So I should skip over this. And skip, what? Okay, so that was where our error happened. I kind of missed it because I was going too fast, but what? Oh, it's just gonna keep breaking. I should stop that. All right. Getting control theory's position in a group with only 3 controls. Oh, I get it. So I think we may have some weird condition where we're adding to this list here inside of this, and that's causing things to break. So I think, well, we can't do that because I'm running it, but if I take out that repaint just quickly, I think this might fix it. Nope, it still broke. Huh. Well, at least that's not broken. So something is causing everything to freak out because we don't know our position. So let's take out the scroll so we can actually test if it's that for loop or if it's something else. So I'm gonna delete that, add this again, type, and we get the error again, which means our scroll isn't the problem. The scroll isn't what's causing it, it's that for loop. So if Event.current type equals event type.repaint. So let's see what happens if I only do this when I'm repainting. I think this is a really bad idea, but I'm kind of exploring here. Okay. Getting control 0's position in a group with only 0 controls. So that is related to the problem. Not the problem, obviously, but it's similar. So then, how do we fix you? Well, first, I'm going to actually move this where it belongs, up here. And so now, this is our redraw. We have our previous commands, so our previous commands are going to be here. We're modifying them there, which I think is what is causing part of our issue. There's 2 things happening there, so I'm going to take out one of them. I'm going to take out that previous commands and see if that affects it. That's odd. So if I type, I can no longer type again after the first one. So something is totally breaking. And I don't know what. So let's change this a little bit. Let's modify it. So we're going to remove this from 0 to the current line length. So that should remove everything. But it will continue to reuse the old. This is weird. Why is that happening? Suddenly, it's like we're no longer getting events or something. I mean, obviously I got an event and it was A. Well, that's interesting. We have crashed Unity. So let me reopen that. I don't know what would cause that. Why would things unless like the repaint? No. I've been looking at this problem for like 5 minutes now. It feels longer, but I don't know what it is. Like something doesn't like what I'm doing. That just totally like destroys everything, and it didn't used to. I don't like if I take this out. There. If I comment all that out, I should be able to type here. No. So when I hit enter, something is happening that is just breaking everything. Let's uncomment that for a bit. I'm curious what's happening. So let's start this again. It's going to compile a bit. I'm going to type connect to Unity. Hopefully this doesn't break again. There we go. And then I'm going to hit enter. Now we have a key code of return, so I should end up there. And I do. So our current line, toString. See, that doesn't make sense either. Why is our current line empty? It should have what we typed previously. It should have asked it to have whatever I typed. It doesn't, though. Why not? Unless I'm missing something. So our previous commands now have blank in them. But how? I don't understand how that happened. But if I go over this, our current line is now empty, right? So that's fine. So if I continue past this, a key code of none. Oh, is it? That's what it's doing. So it's sending multiple things. Okay, got it. So we need to handle that none as well. Case keycode.none, and we'll just break for that. I don't know if that's going to work or not. They are shooting off fireworks outside, and it is very distracting. I feel like I am doing the cooler thing. No, fireworks are way cooler than this. Okay, so I can hit enter a bunch, but I can't do anything else. We're getting that key code thing again, and it totally ruined my layout. Unity, why? There we go. Close enough. So, this is back. But At least we can like type things, I guess. Gonna re-add our scroll. That wasn't causing the problem. So our previous commands don't work. And I don't know why. We need to figure that out. So I can no longer type. And I can't do all sorts of other things. Let's create a new one because that one got a little bit messy. I can't type again. Okay, this is so weird. I should have just ended this video when I was ahead. So if I hit a key, A, follow it through, we get here. Why is our character a null? What? Why? I am gonna chalk this up as a problem with Unity. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. What? So now we're getting a key code of none, but our character is A. I feel like those got flipped. Somehow those two symbols aren't correct. And I don't know why that is. Which means I can't stick this here because that will break everything. But I have to have that there because otherwise nothing works. So maybe... Oh, this is gross. Maybe the alternative is to automatically break if your event.current character is equal to null. So if that happens, then you break, I guess. I have no idea. That seems really weird to me, but maybe that's what they meant. So I can do that now, and still getting that random error. I think this is something I'm going to have to take offline because I don't know what it is. And those fireworks are really distracting. I'm sure the mic is picking them up. There was a dog earlier today, and now there's fireworks. My timing is awful. Jeez. All right. So I can't tell what's exploding more, my code or outside, but I'm going to leave this here. I'll come back to this once I know what's going on. I'll probably let Unity know that I don't think their events are processing correctly, because I don't think you should have a key code of A and a character of null and then have no event type with a character of A. That seems like a mismatch to me, and I don't know where that's coming from or what's happening, but that's not intuitive to me unless there's some undocumented thing that I haven't found. So I'm going to look into that on my own time. This is not being productive at this point. So I'll pick this back up in another video later this week, and then we can move on from there. But hopefully we'll have a way to actually execute a command, and then we'll start working on actually creating like a really simple skeleton that we can actually grab from our code, and then actually create a way to actually find those throughout the project and execute things. So that's on our to-do list. So that's it for this video. If there's anything else you guys have that you want to see me do, let me know in the comments. I get most of my ideas come from you guys. So yeah, if there's any feedback you guys have, anything you want me to do better, like actually write compiling code, or things that you just like, let me know about those too, because that's kind of how I tweak what I'm doing. But yeah, that's it for this. So until next time, see you, Internet.